Hey, my name is Abeye in No Good. I dress myself as Abeye. I'm the frontman for the band No Good, which we proudly sing in Kelantanese. We're a three-piece band. And for this installation, we're working with Kuala Lumpur Ceria and a young collective called Tingkat Tiga.
My name is Faiq. I am a performer, theatre practitioner. I'm Ali. I am an artist researcher. Yeah, and I've worked a lot with different collectives, with like Faiq, another collective, Sans Collective, and I think this is just one of those work that we have produced together. Yeah, I also forgot to mention a newly minted member of Five Art Centre.
Cloud Projects is a small independent publishing house that also functions as a kind of curatorial team, and we work on projects at the intersection of art, architecture, and history. And our idea is to use research and inventive design to make worlds of possibility.
I'm Sisi, and currently I'm a lecturer at MIA Malaysian Institute of Art under Illustration Department.
Di Kuala Lumpur, No Good lah tulis lagu tu. Was written by No Good, performed by No Good, and lyrics were written by me. The song represents probably like a very important part of being Kelantanese. Kalau Kelantan ni, nak pergi kan, dia tak ada nak mikir pergi migrate ke Sabah ke Kuching, tak ada, dia Kuala Lumpur. So kita nak represent the majority of Kelantan people coming to Kuala Lumpur with high hopes, with dreams, with your probably glitz and glamour. At the end of the day, kita jumpa pula bukan glitz and glamour, kita jumpa the gritty part. Kadang-kadang kita pun jumpa banyak kehancuran, kesedihan ke apa. Betul lah, that's what the capital is lah. Ibu kota ni tak score, tak boleh duga. You come in, it's a monster, it's a beast by itself. Will turn you out to something else. I think that's a part and parcel of being an interstate migrant, especially from Kelantan.
Complete Futures of Malaysia, I think, started off initially as it was an idea to make a theatre performance. Mark Teh, who we collaborate with often, had an idea to make an impossible show. Hence, trying to kind of like complete this, something that's can never be completed.
Because I was in Australia when I heard of this idea, and at that time we were engaging online mostly, so we had a Facebook group of in 2020 was it? Yeah, it was a listings of all of our collaborators of what a future is, or at least in 2020 lah. That was like a frame all of us could connect with. Yeah. And then in 2017, it jumbled up into really looking at Malaysia's possible future. And like you said, we were recruited here, we were curated here for the Escape the Sea exhibition by JFKL. And from there, Tacey, Mark, Faiq, and I started looking at documents, newspapers, comic books, sci-fi books that kind of revolves with Malaysia's future. And we scaled it 2020.
Yeah. What I thought about when Mark was talking about the padang and although he's speaking about, say, the field, and it's really the field as kind of expression of the body politic and also the expression of how the body itself is policed, right? Tak boleh buat macam ni, cannot be in the padang, all these kind of rules and regulations about what you can and can't do, and really the kind of central body, the government, and these ideas of who gets to say what and when and how, and this kind of regulation. So I think what we really responded to was this larger idea of the body, and we also thought about text as a kind of body, right? The body text, and the kind of forms in which we find this text of control.
The notice, the press release, and the finance summons are all kind of satirical takes on very common forms of control, right? These are forms of textual control that are used to assert a kind of should be of how Dataran Merdeka should function. The notice, I think we're all familiar with, right? Anytime you walk into any public park, it's right there in front of you. What we've done is kind of take the bureaucratic satire to its furthest extent and really mock the kind of acronym soup that tends to come with a lot of these. The press release, personally, I think is very funny because it's actually generated by AI. So the text we did not write ourselves. We fed a few press releases into GPT-3, which is a sort of natural language processing algorithm, and that's what it spat back out. And the accuracy, honestly, is absolutely insane. The repetition, the kind of language that's used, the moralistic tone of human rights that really operates on a kind of plane of its own. That's the press release. And then the fine and summons is really the inevitable result of the clash of, let's say the NGO press release and the notice and amaran that is provided for by the government. So we think of that as the kind of middle ground, also the sort of next part of the story. And the fine is, also this really kind of strange form that we then bring to its sort of like strangest, craziest proportion.
I guess it was kind of semi-organic how it kind of came about. This long-term project called the Complete Futures, and I think a lot of it stemmed from the rehearsal room and the research that we were doing. And like what Ali said, the first iteration of that rehearsal or research process actually happened in APW for another art exhibition called Escape the Sea back in 2017. And that's where, in APW was where we started gathering these headlines from
and
us and other people, the audience that were coming in.
Yeah, so it was like a library full of different frames of 2020 sort of sci-fi films. There was 2050 and 2030, it was near far futures we were looking at. But there's of course that one box where we collected the headlines itself. And that one box really resonated across the 3 cabinets. Was it 2? There was like 7 cabinets. Yeah, that we set up collecting data. People could donate their futures per se. But that one headline cabinet kind of crossed a lot of different Malaysians. Yeah, and any Malaysian of any age understood newspaper headlines. It was like a public literature review.
Such projects as Boomzoomroom are important for the students to expose their works. Of course, to introduce them to a wider audience, because in college they just show their works, and maybe after their studies they are going to work in a more commercial line. It also gives them exposure as such. They know that they can do beyond the commercial works. Yeah, it's for them to express themselves. Yeah, either in tangible way or intangible way.
As a band pun kita muka band 3 orang, so the best works only come through collaborations. As a band, konsep dia lah. Tapi bila kita dengar ni opportunity Boomzoomroom ni, boleh pula ada elemen transgenerational collaboration, so we jump on it. Memang kita lama dah minat culture dia. They're doing great work documenting the real gritty side of Kuala Lumpur ni. And then kita pun lama dah nak kerja dengan tingkat 3, which is like a new collective that we've been admiring their work for quite a while, tapi tak ada platform. So when BZR came in, teruslah tak mikir banyak dah lah. Halo, demo nak buat ke tak sekali dengan kita. Becek, we got to up to this point, and with the installation. So definitely working with younger collectives or younger minds for no good, penting. It's very important, because in a way that we as the older party lah, let's say, kita kena belajar banyak lagi pada budak-budak muda ni. Kalau budak-budak muda ni ayat budak orang tua, abang ni kita look up ke demo look up je ke kita. It's just a matter of respect. Tapi not knowledge sharing tu, knowledge trading tu, aku kena belajar pada segmen juga. Pak muda kena pergi pada tua, hak tua aku pergi pada muda. Tu baru ada knowledge trading situ. So tu bagi kita penting lah. So hence collaboration tu very important, and syukurlah boleh kerja dengan KLC and dengan tingkat 3.